They believe in fools like us, so they put that stuff over there because we know the fools are going to watch it and they're going to believe it. And pretty soon you get a whole society believing something, and those things happen. It's a fact for me. An earthquake. What causes an earthquake? Well, the science goes, well, it's because of the decibels here and the crap. The earthquake happens because everybody created some kind of a thought that gave results, and it turned into an earthquake. And if you don't believe me, here's a little book out there, which I recommend to all students of Course 5A. I read it many years ago. It's called Man, Minerals, and Masters, written by Dr. something Littlefield. This doctor was a physicist, and he was looking in his studio, he's looking in a microscope, high-powered microscope. And it was windy outside and raining and everything, and he lifted his eyes just to rest his eyes for a moment, and he sees a woman fighting the wind and the rain with an umbrella. And he felt sorry for her. Wow. Well, back to his work. Now, as he put his eyes into the microscope, he kept thinking of the woman. He felt sincerely concerned. He kept thinking of the woman. And you know what? Pretty soon, he sees the woman and the crystals that he had in the plate in the microscope. What? Then he made a study out of this. He would visualize things and then photograph the results of his visualization in the salts. This is a fact. These guys are doctors. But the medical doctors today don't tell you that. No, they don't tell you that, because if they tell you that, that means when you go there and says, oh, you got 3 months to live, you really believe it and you're going to make yourself die in 3 months. Maybe it won't last very long. I personally know a guy in Miami Beach who was supposed to die 6 months. Well, he lasted for 2 years. I know because I used to see him in the coffee house all the time. He told the doctors to go, you know where. You know? So, all I can tell you, I don't want to prove it to you, nor do I have to prove it to you, but experiment with it, try it. All answers are within you. However, you can't get at those answers if you're suffering from a phobia that you got when you were 15 years old. You got to get that stuff out, and that's why we use EFT in Course 5, to get rid of some of that stuff. There's so much of that stuff going back even to other lives, if you believe it. So, all the answers are there once there is a clearing of the connection between the inner self and the outer self. Right? The outer self, anyone that not know what I mean by outer self? Okay, the outer self is the outer self is the self that reasons. And in Course 5A we go into that a lot. You reason. Right now, that which talks to you is the outer self. But the outer self, is very much influenced by the inner self, even at this moment. So, in order to make that connection between the outer self and the inner self, you have to eliminate all the garbage that was collected in your subconscious, because the subconscious is the mind of the inner self. The subconscious is a wonderful mind, but unfortunately is filled with all kinds of negative stuff that you got picked up when you were a child. And you want to eliminate all of that, all fights you've had with people, and all of that's got to get out of the way. And the more you do that, the better you feel, and the more you realize more things, and you get to fall in love with that inner self. So that's what it's all about. Now, when you drop out of things that are necessary, that are not necessary to live. Now, you could ask a question, Well, what would you do if you were in Germany at the time of when they were killing the Jews? And the other thing that I can't believe is how many young people don't know about this. This should be publicized everywhere because it really happened. Millions of people were killed. I got a whole bunch of CDs in there of the history. Killed. Mass murder. And young people today going to school don't know about it. I don't think it will happen again, but it could. But anyway, you might ask me, well, what would you do? You're in Germany, you can't get out. And, well, if I probably would see it coming. And if you were in tune with your inner self, the more you see these things coming. And you do something about it. You could walk out, could leave the country if it's early enough. And let me tell you something else. A lot of those people that suffer because of their convictions, I have a little problem with that. I really don't believe you should suffer. Because if you're suffering for the sake of others, you're suffering for the sake of a regime that is based on hell. So why should you hurt yourself? Drop out. And that's what I mean by drop out in the book. Any other questions or anything?
Okay, the outer self is the self that reasons.
Right.
Okay, well, what the inner self is what? And
The inner self.
What does that do?
Are you breathing right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you breathing because you want to, or it's just happening?
Because I want to.
You want to?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you not want to breathe?
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead. Do that right now.
Well.
Go ahead. Don't breathe. What happens?
Well, eventually I'll want to breathe again.
What?
Eventually I'll want to breathe again.
Well, of course.
Change my mind.
So what I'm trying to say is this: if you had to think about breathing, you wouldn't be able to think of anything else. Oh, I got to breathe now. See, breathing, circulation of the blood, going to the bathroom, sexual desire, all of this stuff is there. You don't do it; it's there. Circulation of the blood, for example, do you do it? You don't do it. Okay, that's what we mean by the inner self. Now, the circulation of the blood is being done with that through the subconscious, through a particular part of that mind, which is all part of the inner self. But if your outer self has hang-ups, for example, about a little river by your house, a little stream, where you saw a dead person there, and you got a shock out of your life, the blood, which is a little stream, probably will not circulate very well, because you got a hang up with a little stream. So when I say clear that stuff from your subconscious, that's what I mean. You clear it up. Now the force of the subconscious, the force of the inner self, which is in touch with the whole universe, it cannot be wrong. It cannot go wrong. It only goes wrong if it has these negative things there. And it's not easy to eliminate them. That's why sometimes some things take a long time and some things don't. I know mine did when I had that phobia. And I tried everything. I could get rid of it. And then one day, here in Florida, only about 15 years ago, I was in bed, and the fear was doing its thing, shaking all over, couldn't breathe right. And I said, I am sick of this, so I might as well just die. And when I did decide that, I just let go. So no big thing anymore. And then from that moment on, the fear left.